Hello, American Dream Makers. It is Dina Krogadal. I am your host today on the American Dream Makers show. I do believe that the American dream belongs to all of us. And not only can you achieve it, but you can go beyond. And today's guest is absolutely an American dream maker. She is the founding principal and CEO of Metropolitan Studio, award-winning visionary and creative expert. You guys, Connie Wittich is an amazing, phenomenal woman, and she's got so much happening in her life. So let's bring her on and meet her. Hi, Connie.
Hi, Zena. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. And I absolutely love the background that you have there. I definitely want you to talk a little bit about that in a little bit here. But before we get to that, tell us who Connie is and what are you doing today, these days?
So, I am an interior designer. I own Metropolitan Studio, and we focus on senior living, hospitality, resort style living, resorts, hotels, and the hospitality vibes. And we are doing projects all over the world.
All over the world. So, what is the funnest place that you got to do a project in? Is there a favorite place that you have been to?
Well, yes, I love being out west as well as the East Coast, but I landed on a project about 5 years ago out in Salt Lake City, and that has expanded our business all over the country. And we have projects from Orlando, Florida to Santa Rosa, California.
Wow.
So we get to go to amazing places and create amazing spaces.
That's awesome. So tell us about the spaces that you do create. So the background that you've got there is one of the spaces that you created.
Yes, we worked on a project that was 276,000 square feet in St. George, and it's called the Legacy Village of St. George. And behind me is the illustration of the dining room. And there's 5 different eatery venues in at this community, and the dining room is one of them.
Wow. And that looks like a spectacular dining room. And so you do a lot of the senior living places, correct? Assisted living, senior livings?
Yes, we do 55 plus, independent, assisted living, memory care, and every community has a different feel and different vibe, depending on the client and the location.
So you go in and you check out the area. I mean, what is your process? You go in, I'm
Yes,
guessing you check out the area and get the vibe and create.
yes. We use a 10-step process, and the first is outside in. So we go around, check out what's going on in the local communities, and we also go back in history of, how the community came about. And we pull together interesting items such as, and bring them forward and really kind of make the project connect with the local people. So, and that term is called Sankofa. It's an African term.
So how did you actually get into this line of work? Because you've been doing this for how long now again?
About 30 years.
30 years. Wow.
Yes. So I went to school for business, accounting, finance, and economics. And when I graduated, I didn't want to work in that arena. So I was on an illustration scholarship in Boston at the Museum School of Fine Arts. And I was able to take classes all over the city. And I took a class in interior design, interior architecture, focusing on hospitality, and figured out that I loved selling creative ideas. So we help business owners either redevelop their image or create their image from scratch. And we typically work with an architectural team. And we're used to being part of the leading part of the design team. Of course, there's engineers and structural engineers and the whole 9 yards on these large projects.
So you founded Met Studios.
I did.
And that was 30 years ago.
No, I founded about 23 years ago, I founded Metropolitan Studio.
Okay.
And yes.
So 23 years ago, I'm trying to go back in my head. 23 years ago, the technology and the access to the tools that we have today was not available really because the internet was just barely getting off the ground, if I remember correctly here.
Yeah, it really wasn't there at all. And yeah, you have to roll with the technology and what's new and the greatest, and that's how I met you, right? We are in the top cool sector of the marketing groups.
Yes, yes. And you're right. You got to roll with the punches and the changing of the seasons to survive in business. And yeah, Connie, we did. We met at a amazing retreat the first time that was in Orlando. Uh,
Yep.
that was a lot of not only fun but full of information. I don't know about you, but I went away with like,
Oh, and the connections were amazing. But I found that being out west enables me to really hook into the latest and greatest marketing tools using the internet and also different technologies, such as what we're doing today.
yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? The what we have at our fingertips that we didn't have the 23 years ago. I graduated college in 1996.
Hmm.
And yeah, the cell phone wasn't really around. Internet was not a home um, thing. You had to go to the computer lab, and even that was dial up. So, you know, it's a little different.
Yeah, and your show has become hugely popular, and so I'm so happy for you.
Thank you very much, Connie. Really appreciate it. Well, it's because we have great guests like you on who are
Thank you.
movers and shakers and who are impacting the world. And so, as you're designing these senior living, assisted living, and independent living for those that are 55 and above, the designs that I have seen from you, they are top notch. These are not just average
Mhm.
run of the mill places because there's a lot out there. There's a lot, but yours are like, you want to talk about top notch. You're in probably the top 1-2% of luxury senior
Thank
living.
you. Yes, we know how to use color and materials, and we know how to, we go in, we can price out a project and get very close to where the project's going to land, but it's how you put together the colors and textures that creates the luxury. It doesn't cost anymore. It just looks very luxurious.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And that's a skill set for sure that you have been able to go in, design it, and find the materials. Like the way you describe it, there's a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot of moving parts from the start to the finish. And then we've gotten into procuring domestically and internationally. And we have a project right outside of DC right now that we just installed 14 containers from 5 different countries. And then we have probably another 5 trucks of domestic product installing next week. So not only do we design, but we procure.
Wow. So I'm founded Met Studios 23 years ago. Was it just yourself, or how many people did you have along your side start in the foundations of this?
Oh, it was just me. I partnered a lot with large architecture firms, and Air St. Gross was one of our clients for about 10 years. We did all their high-profile projects. Under Armour was a client, and we did Monticello's Visitor Center. So we just really started scaling the last few years.
Oh, okay. So just the last few years, and then so how many employees do you have now?
We have 7.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
So, and we work on very large projects.
That is so impressive, Connie, that when you founded this, it was really you. and you were partnering up and you had people helping, but they were not employees. And
No,
now,
right. We've always worked with architecture firms.
okay.
So we would take a portion of the work, and the projects were usually 1.5 million plus in FF&E furniture. And so sometimes it's easier working on large projects than the smaller projects. Although we do love renovations, and we try to have 60% of our projects to be renovations. We like the ugly buildings.
So walk us through that. So you said sometimes it's easier to work on the larger projects than the smaller projects. Tell us why that is.
Because the larger projects usually take a year to design, and so you can space the design out throughout the year. The smaller projects are a faster turnaround. So
Wow.
the
Wow.
renovations are faster than the large design build-up from the ground.
Okay. Okay. And so you like to go in and buy, purchase buildings that need renovation. You actually like doing that?
No, we don't purchase. We find clients that like to do that.
Oh, okay.
So we are a consulting firm.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just amazing because I'm just picturing, we've got a big luxury senior living here in the Prescott area,
Mhm.
Touchmark, and I've been in it, and it's pretty spectacular, especially compared to anything else that's around here.
Mhm.
And so just seeing that come alive was not an easy feat. And so hearing you speak about it, I'm like, wow, Connie's amazing. Like, when do you sleep, Connie?
So we're working with an architectural team. So it's there's a process set in place. So it's actually quite easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
So
great.
yeah. The building, it takes usually a large building is a year, year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. So then take us back when you were young.
Mhm.
Did you always, were you a creative person? Were you into designing, creating things in your mind even then?
Yes. When I was in middle school, it was really cool to be invited to private art lessons on Saturday morning from our art teacher. And so Saturday mornings we spent painting, and I always loved art. I love selling creative ideas. That is I love the sales process. I love the creation process. But going back as a kid, it was really painting classes. And I find the best designers are those designers that also took a lot of art lessons for color.
That would make sense to be able to put color together. And it's even not just color, Connie. I mean, color obviously is huge, but when I look at that picture behind you, it's also the different textures and the contrast that you use. There's a lot more to it than even just color.
Yes, and it's interesting because years ago, illustrations were not the prominent tool in our industry, but the technology has made it really easy to create the interior renderings. And not only is it easier to create the hospitality vibe using renderings, but you can also get into the photorealistic and how does the textures work up against each other. And it takes the whole architectural interiors field to a whole different level. So my illustration scholarship in Boston really tied the knot on the skill sets that I need to do what I do. Although I don't actually do the renderings. Our team puts together all the materials and we work with a renderer.
That's awesome. So in high school, so junior high, you started painting and realized that you were good
Yeah.
at it, loved it. High
And
school.
also my grandfather was a doctor in New York City. And a lot of his patients were artists. And so he would do a lot of commissioning to his patients. And one was Franz Klein. And so I got to see the whole inside art world at a very young age. And my uncle was also an artist and a very prominent businessman. A lot of his clients were from Texas. And he renovated a old warehouse back in the late 60s. And it's right across from Cooper Union in New York City. And so I got the inside track, and that was way before renovating warehouses was popular. So I must say the experience from New York City really did have an impact on my life. And also we named the company Metropolitan Studio after the Metropolitan in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so.
And so your grandfather was your inspiration.
Oh, my grandfather was my inspiration. Yes.
You have a special relationship with him?
I did. Yes. Yes. He passed a few years ago, but yeah, he's awesome. He was awesome.
Well, tell us what special one, maybe I'm sure there's probably several, but was there one particular memory or moment with your grandfather that definitely was like the aha moment for you? Like, this is, I want to, my grandfather's amazing and I want to walk in his footsteps somehow.
So we would go to the Metropolitan. He was a benefactor there, but we would go to the galleries down in Soho and just walk from gallery to gallery. And he knew a lot of people. We would go to dinners with his friends that were doctors and art collectors. And he would also have a lot of famous artists join us. One was, he was a sculptor. I forgot his name, but he did these huge public sculptures. And it was an era back in the 60s where 50s and 60s where these artists became hugely famous. And he had an interesting group of friends.
Wow. That had to have been really fun. And how old were you in this memory or in this moment that you're describing?
About 16.
Oh, teenager.
Teenager, yeah. So, and then in my early 20s, I would pop into New York City and he would always say, "Oh, let's go have dinner," and somebody interesting would join us. It was super fun.
Wow. So you got to really hubnub with some fancy people from an early age. That's awesome.
Well, they were artists and they were unusual people. And it was a very creative vibe. And my grandfather loved hanging out with all different types of people. It enriched his life.
That is great that you say that. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I think that is so very true because I see that with you. You have gone to many different conferences. You belong to other networks and you have friendships with people of all walks of life. So how has that enriched your life?
Oh, I love people. And, when I met you in Orlando, it was that group is so creative. A lot of famous actors, many speakers. I love the Mary Kay.
Gloria Mayfield Banks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was awesome and so kind.
Mhm.
And eager to help anybody, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's you land in certain places and you just kind of sit back and think, okay, what's going to happen next? Who am I going to meet? And how are they going to enrich my life? And how am I going to enrich theirs, right?
Right. Yeah, because that old saying, birds of a feather flock together, which I guess for the majority that is probably true. But I don't think that birds of a feather should flock together just for the very reason that you're saying, because how else will we learn?
Right.
outside, because that outside perspective or somebody else's life experience, or like you said, your grandfather liked hanging out with artists, but he also liked people of all genres and backgrounds.
Oh, yeah, he was entrenched in the medical field, yet art really was a huge part of his life.
Yeah.
But I find that, I think both of us like to seek the creative and being out of the box instead of in the box. And when you do that, you just attract really interesting people.
Wow. That's great. Because out of the box thinking, I have to say, was very tough for me. As I was growing up, I was very, very much, this is the way things are done, and you don't veer from it. So it took me many decades, into adult life to realize it's actually okay to color outside the box or
Oh, I think you've done amazing coloring outside the box. I mean, just in the last 6 months, look at what you've done. You've got a really popular show, and you're creating several different companies.
Thank you, Connie. Coming from you, that's huge. Thank you so much. And but it attributes to what we're just talking about, of really being around other people who have different backgrounds to enrich our lives. Because it's only then that I really was able to expand my mind and to really, change that mindset. And so I thank you so much for enriching my life, Connie. You have been an inspiration, and I know that anybody who has come along you in your life probably feels the same way, because you're an absolutely go-getter. And so that's a drive. That did you always have that, or is that something you developed, or both?
Well, thank you, Zena. That's a very big compliment coming from you. I've always seeked out adventure. So I look at life as a huge adventure, and looking at what's new, what can I learn, who can I meet. I think people enrich people's lives. And being in environments also enrich people's lives. And I think your environment is hugely, hugely important. I think mindset, health, and environment are the big key pieces to happiness.
Mm, that's beautiful. Mm, very beautiful. So do you have siblings, Connie?
I do. I do. I have a brother he helps develop pharmaceutical drugs. And then I have another brother that's a lawyer, and then a sister that works in the insurance arena.
Wow. Wow. So then where are you, right in, I guess, in the rank of the siblings? Are you the oldest,
I'm the
young?
oldest, yeah,
You're the oldest.
by 1 year. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Well, me too. So I understand, a little bit about being the oldest. I'm, leadership skills.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. So,
That's awesome. And so growing up in that household, you said there's four of you. That had to have been very fun. A lot of activity going on.
yeah, I grew up in Roanoke, Virginia, in southwestern Virginia. It was very outdoorsy. There was tons to do. We played a lot of sports, a lot of hiking, always outside. So now I'm out in Park City, almost 85% of my time. And again, it's the same kind of outdoors hiking and blue skies, beautiful places. The mountains are a lot bigger, but same kind of outdoor kind of vibes.
I'm glad that you make time to enjoy the outdoors and those activities. So tell us, for those running businesses, it's sometimes hard to clock out and truly enjoy life. So tell us the secret of how you manage that.
I walk outside my door. I live at the bottom of a mountain. So, yeah, you go for walks. Sometimes the walks are uphill. I love the the new Netflix series called Blue Zones. Have you seen that?
I haven't.
It's awesome. And it talks about longevity and what areas in life, I mean, in the world, have like the groups that are 100 years plus. And one of the common factors is walking and walking up hills. A lot of the villages are down at the bottom of a mountain, and then houses are built up on the hills. And just the mere fact of walking every day. So I think going on long walks, whether it's hiking or walking uphill or a mountain, is super invigorating.
Yes, breathing clean air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I guess in New York you don't, or New York City, you don't get a lot of clean air, I suppose, in the bigger cities, compared to where you're at right now.
No, but I have two kids that daughters that live in New York City, and I love going there because we walk all over the place and shop, and it's super fun. Tons of museums.
Yeah, that's great. And you're right that the city has a different feel and a different kind of beauty.
It does.
Yeah.
I love the cities. I love the mountains. You know, you can enjoy any place you are if you have that kind of mindset.
Beautiful. So
So, yeah.
even in the desert without a whole lot, you can still enjoy.
Oh, I love the desert. I spent a lot of time down in St. George, and they're amazing golf courses in the desert. I love the desert.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
See, you are fantastic example to just go out and notice the beauty in everything. And so that's awesome, Connie.
Well, you live in the desert.
I live in the high desert, yes. Not quite like the Phoenix area. So I do live, it's a little more in the mountain. We're about 5,500 feet. And so we do have mountains surrounding us. And actually, Prescott has very diverse scenery. We have some granite dells, and we have pine trees, and we also have, and if you want straight desert, you can absolutely go, it's not very far from where we're at. So it's actually a very unique area in that you can experience quite a bit different scenery in a close vicinity. So, which is probably why a lot of people are moving to the area. It's like that gem that people have found in Arizona, because when you say Arizona, most people picture Phoenix desert.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, but the sunsets you almost can't beat out here, for sure. The painted skies of the desert is pretty phenomenal. So, but I love, traveling a little bit more this last year and seeing the different places in the United States. I definitely see what you're saying, that there is beauty just about everywhere you go.
Right. So where did you go?
So, well, of course, Orlando, in
Mhm.
in March, and then we've been to Nashville, Tennessee, and then also in the Eastern Tennessee, around Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg,
Mhm.
also Williamsburg area in Virginia, and Gordonsville, which is a little small town in the Shenandoah Valley area, which was very beautiful as well. Last year, we went to we basically drove around New England. We were in Washington, D.C., and took a road trip up to New York City, Boston, York, Maine, Connecticut. We also were in Connecticut. We were in Cape Cod for a couple days, and then came back through and stayed in Pennsylvania for a little bit. So it was fun because I
You've been
hadn't
all
really,
over.
yeah, it was like, wow. But it's also because we're at a phase in our life where our kids are young adults.
Right.
And when Chris and I got married, we had kids. I mean, I had kids from a previous marriage, and so we had kids. So
Right.
our marriage wasn't just the two of us. So now it's fun because it's the two of us, and so we've just been taking advantage of the time and like, let's go see and do things. It's a lot cheaper, I have to tell you, Connie, to travel without having to feed two extra mouths.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So, do you have? I know you said you love the West. Is there an absolute favorite that you have, or is it kind of hard to pick one?
Um, I like I just like being out. I like the East Coast too. I bounce back and forth. So next week I'll be in Tennessee. The following week I'll be in Florida, and then up to Baltimore. I have an office there also. And then I will be back up in New York in November. So I kind of bounce around because the projects are all over.
So fun.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I bet that's the fun part of your work, is that you do get to go all over.
We get to go to amazing places. We also work on resorts and hotels. So we get to go to places that people travel to for vacations. Super fun. And then I'm also on an advisory board for a startup, for a group that is it's a technology platform for owning vacation homes.
Oh,
So yeah.
wow.
So anyway, so our business is set up around beautiful places to build beautiful spaces.
You
So-
have definitely built it to where it has absolutely suited your lifestyle, and then being able to really impact and affect other people's lives and enrich their lives. Wow, Connie.
Well,
Thank
thank
you
you,
for all
Zena.
you do.
Thank you.
And being here in a more retirement type community, Prescott's known as one of the top 10 retirement communities. I will say that, that part of life of the, when people aren't going to work, clocking in, clocking out, or running businesses, that they actually get to have this, and I guess the later part of their lives, it really is a blessing for them to be able to truly enjoy their space that they're in.
Oh yeah, we were photographing the project in St. George, the one right behind me, and Scott Zimmerman, the architectural photographer, asked one of the residents how she liked living in the community. And she said, I didn't know if I'd like it or not, because there's lots of different kinds of spaces, indoors and out, lots of color. And then she realized after a month that every morning she woke up happy.
Wow.
And her whole mindset kind of started changing, and she met amazing people. She was not isolated, and she had all these new friends. So, it changes people's lives.
Yeah, very
And
much.
it's not really a retirement. It's like the next phase. It's kind of interesting. A lot of people don't retire. They're still working. We're building business centers in the communities, and it's a lifestyle change.
Ah, wow.
So others are fully retired. It just depends on the community and where it's located, and what the marketing, who the developer or owner of the community wants to attract. So we design to attract the people that they want to have in their communities.
Wow. That's awesome. That's so awesome. So you guys, Connie is absolutely amazing, as you can hear, and very, very talented and gifted. And so if you know of anyone who's talking about some design and basically needing some help with their project in senior living, assisted living, independent living, whatever, are you even expanding outside of that too, Connie?
Oh yeah, we do work all through multifamily resorts. We won a project in Bali and 2 international awards. We had a project in China, Costa Rica. We do high-end residential condos for vacation, large vacation condos. We focus on lifestyle living.
Awesome. So yeah, if any of you know anyone who could use Connie's expertise, absolutely get a hold of her at metstudio.com, met-studio.com. She is a wealth of knowledge, as you can hear, and has a passion for it too. It's like
Oh yeah.
I don't even see you retiring, because it sounds like you like it so much that you probably just keep going.
No, I'm not going to retire. Are you going to retire?
Probably not.
No. So, well, thank you, Zena, for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your schedule. Really appreciate it. So one more thing before we go. So anyone who is thinking about getting into the business today, do you have maybe your top 2 to 3 tips on how they might get started?
Yes, take art classes and then take interior design classes. And you need to get certified. And if you're doing commercial and large projects, and then find a great firm to work for and a
Awesome.
good mentor.
Awesome. Well, Connie would be a great mentor. So for sure. So be sure, met-studio.com. She's also on LinkedIn and on Facebook. So make sure you connect with her and follow her. She's also going to be starting a podcast here in the near future.
Yes,
Right? Yes.
it's The Art of Living Young. And yeah, you'll have to be on my podcast, Zena.
Yes, I'd like to learn for sure the art of living young. That's so
Art of
awesome.
Living
That's a
Young.
great name.
It is
Wow.
a great name, and it's all about mindset, wellness, and your environments.
Are you going to write a book too, Connie? Because I feel like that's a title for a book as well.
It is. We're in the process.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you got so much going on. That is so exciting. Well, when that Art of Living podcast comes up, absolutely let me know. And when the book comes out, we definitely want to have you back on and get talking about it, because that sounds so great. And I already want to read it, and it's not even in existence yet. So.
Well, thank you, Zena.
So, all right. Well, we will say goodbye for now. And thank you so much again, Connie, for being here. And keep making the American dream come true. You are doing a fabulous job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zena. Thanks for having me.
Guys, thank you so much for being here on American Dream Makers. And if you're watching this on the replay, please be sure to share this out. Connie is a fabulous woman, as you can hear. And so if you find value in these live stream podcasts, please be sure to like my page. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, American Dream Makers, and also Zena Krogadal. Love to have your support. And if you'd like to be a guest on my show, please reach out to me and let's get connected. Have a wonderful day and be blessed, everyone.